We're going to tell you why it's okay to like Zack Snyder and Geoff Johns. We're going to talk about the alternate Joker ending that I wish that we'd gotten. Mm-hmm. And the Batman is shooting. And oh my God, we've seen some set pics. Oh, all that and so much more right after this ad that we have absolutely no control over.
Are you struggling to conceive? You have options, and at Piedmont Reproductive Endocrinology Group, we'll make sure you have the guidance and support you need. PREG is known for individualized fertility care that's unique to every patient. We take the time to provide a reassuring and empowering experience because we believe that you deserve nothing less. Let us help you on your journey to parenthood. Visit us at pregonline.com to learn more. Get the guidance and support you need at Piedmont Reproductive Endocrinology Group.
Welcome into DC On Screen, episode 577. This is the podcast that discusses and supports the DC Comics multiverse on film and television, gives honest opinions about projects upcoming and past, and believes that every version of a property is valid, even if we really don't want it to be. If it's been released, it is fair game. So beware of spoilers, and welcome to the show.
Hello!
Hi, I'm David C. Robertson. This is Jason Goss.
Previously announced?
Mm-hmm. Actually, we didn't announce it this time. We worked it a little bit, and we didn't do that.
Make a liar out of me this early. Okay.
I know. It's 2020, man.
I should have been paying better attention. You're right. You didn't say it.
Gotta throw it on the fire.
It's on me.
We gotta throw you on the fire, man. It's New Year. Resolutions and shit.
It's cold down here. Gotta stoke the fire somehow.
Oh, man. The holiday season is over. Officially, I think. Am I right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's back. This was, for a lot of people, the first Monday of being back at work with a full week planned. And, oh, man. That'll make some long fucking faces at work.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, we're in the U.S. here. So we had Christmas. We had New Year's. Other cultures had their Pancha Ganapati and their Hanukkah.
Good job on the I can't even do it outside of maybe saying it. It's a hard thing to do. Hard thing for my voice to do. I have no training.
Yeah.
No background.
Yeah. There were some people had their life day, the people down with a certain far away galaxy from a long time ago.
Yeah. It's still tradition in certain places.
How'd your holiday season go, man?
By the way.
I know. I see that you listened to the same imaginary worlds I did.
I did. It was a good one.
As God knows, I'm not going to remember that Star Wars horse shit.
Oh, I remembered it from the episode. I just didn't remember it from anything. I've never seen the holiday special, so I didn't know.
Yeah, I saw the Boba Fett. I've seen the Boba Fett segment on YouTube. That's it, man. I couldn't do it. But yeah, did you have a good holiday season, man?
Yeah, it came and went.
Came and went.
Mm-hmm.
God,
it was good.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah. It was also it was midweek though for me, so a lot of it was like go to work. We'll see in a few hours. Oh my God, a holiday happened, and I'm back at work.
Yeah,
and we were pretty laid back work days for the most part, but it was still like twice we had I cannot count the amount of times that I either did or heard someone else mistake Thursday for Monday.
Mm-hmm. That happens.
It really messed with our brains. We had, that doesn't even include the amount of times I saw somebody start to say something, pause, think to themselves, take another breath, and then say Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it messed with everybody's clocks.
Yeah, we had a lot going on. I have a pretty big family, especially now that I'm married. So like on Christmas Day, we got up, we went to my mother-in-law's house to have breakfast with her and my sister-in-law. We exchanged gifts there. Then it's just a whirlwind, man. Then we drove 106 miles to Montgomery, and I always remember that because it's 106 miles from the Palace Hotel Ballroom to Chicago and the Blues Brothers.
Good Lord. Okay.
Yep. And you can do it on a half tank of gas. Elwood is not wrong.
I believe that you tested that one day.
Every week.
Just to see.
We ate with my grandmother and aunt and parents down there. We exchanged some gifts. Then we went to my parents' house for dinner and gifts. Then on the 27th, we went out of town with my wife's grandmother, her father, and aunts to a cabin in Knoxville, Tennessee for a week. We exchanged gifts with them. My wife and I went to a bunch of thrift shops. It was a lot of fun. It was stressful, but also, a total embarrassment of riches. Embarrassment of blessings, I'll say that. Because if you're like looking at your bank account while you're at a thrift store, that's not really an embarrassment of riches necessarily.
Yeah,
But I got a lot of cool stuff. And verily my genitals were adorned with precious jewels, and my belly was lined with fine Corinthian turkey. Those last two things aren't true.
Yeah.
Actually, the Fine Corinthian Turkey, I've been binge watching Ed. So
That's
if you'll recall,
there's nothing wrong with
Michael
that.
Ian. If you'll recall, Michael Ian Black's character had a scheme for Thanksgiving where he just bought a bunch of turkeys from the supermarket and relabeled them Fine Corinthian turkeys. and was trying to sell them for some ungodly amount.
Yeah. I do remember that.
Fine Corinthian turkeys.
It was a subtle and underrated show, that one.
How much? $300. Yeah, it was good. It was good. All right, so we don't have a huge show tonight. A lot of cool stuff to talk about, but it's not like one of those like ball busters or anything. Some quick points. First off, I want to thank every patron who deigns to shower us with support. Patreon.com/DC on screen if you want to help us out. $1 a month gets you every episode ad free. $5 gets you that, plus Patreon exclusives like warm-ups, Marvel reviews, Jason's pull list, and of course, Chasing Squirrels. And mentioning Chasing Squirrels, Squirrel Chasers is the name of our listeners chose for themselves. So that's what you're called now. I don't know how to help you.
If you want to object, write in. We'll
reassess.
send it into the appeals committee.
Absolutely. And we do reserve the right to change it if we come up with something funnier.
Right. Yeah.
But, all right, Squirrel Chasers. Here's a thing, just so you know.
Just tried it on for size. All right.
We only got to 91 reviews on Apple Podcasts, falling 9 short of our hopeful goal. I guess we should have bribed you, but it's okay. You can still go and do that if you want.
It was a hell of a showing. I appreciate it.
It was. I'll provide a link if you want to go and, I don't know, we can set a new goal by the end of January. How pathetic are we?
Feels a little more empty than the end of the year, but I get the sentiment.
It is. It's empty. Oh man. So I am going to go on a rant because
All right.
while I was in Tennessee this week, I quite enjoyed playing on my iPad and learning to draw and procreate. But I also had a lot of time to glance at Twitter, and all this week I've been seeing this resurgence of a really annoying trend on there, and I'd love to address it. Many Snyder Cut supporters, who I tend to sympathize with in some regards, namely wanting Zack Snyder's Justice League to be released, have decided that for some reason it would be a productive use of their time and energy to, quote, pass it on that Geoff Johns destroyed the DCEU. First of all, he didn't. Aquaman topped $1 billion. Birds of Prey is trending like crazy and releases in February. We have a whole slate of DCEU coming. And it won't be what Snyder had planned out. But part of building a franchise like that is collaboration. I don't know why I almost said collaboration. I don't know what that is. But no movie gets made without it. No franchise gets made without collaboration. You've got people from high up. You've got executive producers. You've got writers. All these sorts of people who are coming in and saying yay or nay, and people are compromising. But many of these Snyder Cut people believe that a Snyder-less DCEU is not the DCEU. It is the MCU. And that's bullshit. I would argue that DCEU is whatever Warner Brothers says because they own the rights. It is their sandbox. Zack Snyder got to play in it for a time. Too short a time, in my opinion, but hopefully that will be rectified to some degree. To be fair to Geoff Johns, had it not been for him, the non-Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman characters of Justice League would not even be popular enough among the comic book fandom to warrant a movie. This dude completely revitalized The Flash, Green Lantern, Aquaman, the Titans, the list goes on. And I know he got to start with Donner. Same as Kevin Feige. Listeners of this show know that I am hard-lined in the camp that feels the time of resting on the Richard Donner Superman laurels has long since passed. Dick Donner did not invent Superman. He reinvented him. The fans and creators need to allow someone else to reinvent him too. Demonizing Geoff Johns, and for that matter, Kevin Feige, for exercising their own creative visions, or in the case of Johns, trying to, while also getting directives from on high, is pretty hypocritical. And I want you to consider something. What if the roles were reversed? Or, not reversed. Let's suppose that the conspiracy theories are true, that Geoff Johns leaked shit to the press, paid off critics, etc., to get Zack Snyder kicked off of the movies. I hope that didn't happen. But let's suppose that is true, for the sake of this argument. let's say Zack Snyder was not in charge. It was Geoff Johns, charting what many of you consider to be his goofy, hopeful, marvelized course. And also, let's suppose in this scenario, you are in the position Geoff Johns found himself in. You, by all reports, vehemently and openly disagree with what you feel are reckless, creative choices being made. Because of your years of dealing with fans, you have a good idea of what the fans want, what they will like, what they'll hate, and your opinions are being completely ignored. Would you betray the person in charge? This is a franchise that you adore. These are characters that you love. In your opinion, you are saving it by betraying this person. Would you do it?
And even if you're, is it necessarily the person involved? And who's in charge in this case? Snyder?
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure. We weren't talking about like WB execs.
Right. So I think even if your answer is no, you should consider this. How can you claim to support a man, that being Zack Snyder, who ardently supports the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, a man who actively reminds you that the holidays can be a tough time of year for many and implores you to be kind to one another, but then turn around at any point, but especially on the holidays, over the holiday season, and encourage everyone you can to be hateful and badger a comic book writer? The man disagreed with a director you like. He didn't murder your parents. He is a person like Zack. He had a creative vision for these characters like Zack. He has suffered terrible loss like Zack. And if you don't believe me or don't know what I'm talking about, go look up who Stargirl is based on, for God's sake.
No, these are both men who know loss, real loss.
And he was ultimately, and in my opinion, prematurely, ejected from the DCEU like Zack. Grow the hell up. And I'm not going to keep unfollowing or blocking any of these. I mean, I will, but first I'm going to report your hateful ass. I don't want to see any more of this shit. I'm sick of this. This is straight up hate speech. This is, I'm really excited and happy that you went and bought a t-shirt and threw your 33, 35, whatever it is, dollars at suicide prevention. But if you turn around and do this, man, you're a sack of shit.
It's not, how do I put it? I don't think you can care about one part of this and not care about the other. And I don't think you can blame one part of this and blame the other. I genuinely think that Snyder was doing what he felt was right creatively.
Mm-hmm.
And I genuinely, based on decades of reading his stuff, not my decades of him making it and me catching up and reading it, that Geoff Johns has, for all of the accounts that I've come across, has acted in the best interest of his characters and his creative process.
Mm-hmm.
And as you pointed out, these are both men that have suffered some serious loss. And I think they're both people that deeply love the material involved. They have way more in common than they don't, is what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah.
And the part that cracks me up is, Geoff Johns, I know he has some presence. And when you hear some of the borderline conspiratorial theories about how Geoff Johns did this and that, it's largely speculative. Like, I've never seen any evidence really that pointed me toward, oh no, he definitely screwed so-and-so over this or that away.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either, and I know
kind of circumstantial at best,
To me, the most damning evidence against Geoff Johns is that the girl who started or the woman who started all the release Snyder Cut stuff, who became friends with Zack, Fiona.
Seen the name around?
She has said some pretty damning things about Geoff Johns, but I don't know if that is firsthand opinion from Zack coming through to her, or if that's just her own opinion. But even so, even if the dude completely betrayed Zack Snyder in some regard,
no, I know he's semi-publicly.
He's still a person.
I don't know how publicly. I'd have to look it up. I know there is some relatively well-accepted kerfuffle about how Superman killing in the first movie, like Johns all but pleaded, don't do it. It's not a good call.
Oh, yeah, no, Zack. I mean, yeah, no, it's just not. That's not really contested. Geoff Johns has openly disagreed with Zack Snyder about
I thought it was
the direction.
It's been a few years, but I thought it was pretty well accepted.
Yeah,
that's canon, right?
Yeah, I believe it is. Yes.
Yeah, like they have disagreements, no doubt, but I don't think they were They weren't coming. Like, for those two to be juxtaposed as villains makes as much sense for me as it does the MCU and the DCEU to be juxtaposed as villains. They are not. They don't. It doesn't work that way. As you often put it, it's still sharpening steel. Now, whether their creative process was great is one thing. To me, the fact that we're talking about two people who have contributed a lot to the franchise, either the DCU or DC Comics, whichever, pick one. And in Geoff Johns' case, pick both if you want to. Either are valid. That and TV. He still is. Well, no, I'm sorry. That was just recently. He was not technically the DC Comics creative officer anymore. Mm-hmm. He moved into his own little kind of production franchise where he still has a lot of access to all these properties. But it's all of this, and it's weird. It's weird to me that it's so distracting that these are our villains, that we're not blaming the suits. The suits fucked us, guys.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people that listen to us kind of agree, because mostly when we say that, we've gotten a lot of that feedback is like, oh yeah, Suji Harj is a son of a bitch. Yeah, no, Suji Harj was a son of a bitch. I shouldn't even say that. I think I might like his mom more than I like him.
And, and then people turn around and say, like, well, we see what Geoff Johns did aside from Justice League. He did, Green Lantern. Well, blaming Green Lantern on Geoff Johns is like blaming the theatrical cut of Justice League on Zack Snyder. No,
and it's kind of a false note. Like, no one blames Greg Berlanti, who has, whether you like the CW or not, he's grown far beyond the CW, and a lot of the properties that he's done that are pretty much all DC related. I mean, short of like two of the things he was doing, he is literally has the record now, the Hollywood all-time record for most produced shows under his name at one time.
Yeah.
He is the biggest umbrella that has ever developed. Fuck Seth MacFarlane. He is the biggest thing that's ever happened as far as like things under his care at one time. And I say what you want about some of them for a lot of reasons, and I'm probably going to agree with you for a lot of them, but dude's given us a lot. His name is the first one on the Green Lantern script, and no one wants to go back for that. But
I disagree because a lot of the Snyder Cut people, a lot of these, like, they do attack. They use that to attack CW because they don't like CW.
Oh, because the Green Lantern thing.
Yeah, but the thing about this, a lot of the Snyder Cut people, a lot of the Snyder Cut fans, again, of which I consider myself in allegiance with in certain regards.
I know no one who listens to us would believe me at this point, but I want it too. Just not.
But the thing about a lot of the Zack Snyder fans, I say many, a lot, not all, because I know lots of them who, loves Geoff Johns for what he has done.
No, it's very much a spectrum thing.
And a lot of the television stuff. But
you see very reasonable people, and then there are some deeply unreasonable people. It's a spectrum thing.
There is a huge chunk of Zack Snyder people who they're not DC Comics fans. They are Zack Snyder fans, and they don't get the comics. They don't they don't get any other iteration of these characters. They're just angry that it's not Zack Snyder.
Yeah, I get it.
Or everything's just too kidsy. Oh, look at how pansy this Superman looks as opposed to Henry Cavill. Yeah, well, okay, they've got like an eighth of the budget.
Yeah, I know.
If that's being kind.
Yeah.
Like I said, grow up.
I get it. And also, there's a thing that happens in Hollywood that is a little bit real and also a little bit made up, and I never know where the line is. But there are people that do or do not have a compelling visual nature. Like there are people that you see them the first time on a screen, TV, film, whatever, and think, oh, this guy or girl is going to go somewhere. Mm-hmm. Like you could watch Ryan Reynolds back in the Two Guys in a Pizza Place. No, Two Guys and a Girl. Yeah. It got shortened from Two Guys and a Girl in a Pizza Place to Two Guys and a Girl. Sorry. You could watch him back in those days and you kind of knew like, he's got something. Some people are compelling and their presence alone will eventually end up demanding more money because that is how this works. Once you create a draw, if you're booking a band, if you're booking a local band, you have the same problem. Do you have a draw? No. Okay. You're going to cut to the door at best. Do you have a draw? Okay, cool. We'll give you ticket sales plus blah, blah, blah. Whatever. You're going to do.
I don't have a draw.
Oh, yeah.
I have a repellent.
Yeah. We have fan repellent.
I do.
Maybe evidenced by this speech. I don't know. We'll see where everyone lies at the end of it.
Oh, it doesn't matter what I say. I could say like the best thing ever. Somebody could hand me a John F. Kennedy speech, like the most iconic thing ever. Yeah. And people would be like, suddenly that doesn't sound so good.
Yeah, I just don't trust anymore. I get it. It doesn't matter what I say. Everyone thinks I'm being a smartass.
I mean, you are though.
Half the time, yeah. And the other time I'm disguising it.
Half.
But genuinely, some people, because of what they pull and because of the on-screen presence and charisma they have, they get to a point where they are able to demand more money. Well, here's one of those guess what realities. TV has less money than movies. I don't think that's always going to be the case. I really don't. I think the structure's changing and the format's changing and the dynamics are going to change eventually. I think at some point, a movie on streaming is going to be just as capable of all the critical applaud and awards as anything else. Or God forbid, an actual television show that streaming gets anything other than like a SGA or WGA award. But I think we're going to get there. And I think that's all due for some change and will change. But for now, the traditional model is still mostly in place. And if you're on TV and playing a character versus a guy who's playing it in the movies, well, guess what? Unless a lot of people made a lot of choices that were either like kind of wrong and ill-advised or just missed the timing in a way that the math should have said this person's going to be better and it just didn't work out. Every now and then you get a fluke, somebody who just does better on TV than the film version, whatever. But for the most part, man, yeah, that's how it works. I mean, you're going to pay less for Tyler Hoechlin than you do Henry Cavill.
Yeah.
One of them has a bigger draw. Fact.
And also, those suits are going to look the same. The cameras aren't going to look the same.
They are not.
Here's
more production value is put into one than the other, and that's just where it is for now. And I think it'll change, but that's where we are at the moment.
It will eventually maybe change, but guess what? An episode of one of those CW shows costs $2 million an episode.
Yeah,
$2 million an episode,
and is really only making about, by that metric, only making about $1.50 per dollar in ratings returns. Now that's minus a lot of streaming, so more. We'll go with $3 per, just being generous, but still, it's nowhere near, say, like the Joker,
right?
Even Justice League, God forbid.
So they get $50 million a season to make 23 episodes.
It's a big ask. There's a reason showrunners get run through the ground. Like it's a hard game, man.
As opposed to what? If you factor in the cost of previous movies, you're still looking at probably $250 to $300 million that Zack Snyder got to make Justice League.
I mean,
or
$350
BBS,
if you include
or
all of the
whatever you want to
marketing
talk about.
and all of the previous scripts, which get included.
So, if we're going to be generous and give Zack Snyder his complete vision, which I would,
now,
3
monetarily
hours,
more
3.5
is
hours, 3.5 hours to look badass. I'm just saying it's unfair to put up a picture of Henry Cavill in the Superman suit that's completely and totally color corrected and looks beautiful because you snagged it from a Blu-ray disc, and then put it up next to a set picture of Tyler Hoechlin and talk about what a pansy he is.
Yeah. For instance, where I went to school, we had a really, for what it was worth in high school, had a pretty well-funded theater program. We had a decent budget, and I know what budget we had, and I know what obstacles we had because we lost, due to some tenuring problems, we lost our theater teacher, and we had to keep that shit going single-handedly. The students kept that going. We made it happen. So we knew what our problems were. We knew what our risks were. We knew how much we had. We could do the best job we could possibly imagine. It's only going to look at a certain level. If the same Midsummer Night's Dream is put on by UCLA, it's not going to look the same.
Yeah.
And that's not our fault.
It's not your fault.
I mean, some of it is because I was involved, but
yeah,
largely they're predisposed to a better product. We'll put it that way.
I've been in production with you. There's a lot that is your fault.
I'm perfectly aware. I was there.
YouTube videos. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Good old days.
You brought that production up in quality, sir.
Good old days. Hassling you while you're trying to get something actually done. Dave, I know this is supposed to be a pretty quiet scene, but I got this plush unicorn I was thinking about bringing into it. Why, Jason? I thought I'd add to the scene's, juxtaposition, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah.
How long can I keep a straight face and try to talk you into this?
And my favorite thing was always your cinematography, because I'd be like, okay, now I need you to hold the camera on me. And then I'd look at the footage and it was like you're shooting a light switch.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like,
I loved doing that to you.
I'm like, why does he have like a close-up of the light switch? I'm nowhere near the light switch.
Here was the problem. Occasionally I would try to do that to you as a joke.
Uh-huh.
And then the problem would be that when I was trying to get the real shot, I would fuck that up. So then you just had nothing. So,
yeah.
So there would be the shots where I was like, this is for me.
Right. So you're doing shit to like make me to like troll me, but
Yeah.
like your actual shots are so bad that I can't tell the difference.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. That would happen. You know, sometimes I got it right, sometimes I didn't. But when I was trying to troll the whole time, it didn't work out always. It
There are
amounted
videos
to an
that-
angry Dave.
There are videos that have never been seen for a reason.
Yep, that was me.
And not always just you. some of it was my complete
Some of it was
It's one of the-
utter abandonment. But
well, because of my on some of these videos, some of those unseen videos, it was just me for the first time in my life, or one of the very rare instances in my life, being over ambitious to a point of just like, oh, what was I thinking? I can't pull that off.
I cannot complete this.
Perhaps one day.
Yeah, that happens too.
All right, now going along with our Geoff Johns spiel, Sherman Smith, and I swear this is just strange. I had no idea this was going to happen. I just like happened to get a notification as I was doing.
Yeah, it sounded like we were
about
kind of
to-
already working on this rant, and then this.
Oh
came up.
yeah. But then like this kind of popped up as I was working on it, and I was like, why the hell not?
Yeah.
And Sherman Smith,
Sherman,
one of our
sorry, it was a busy day. I didn't get to respond. I was trying to at work, but it never happened.
Sherman Smith, one of our stalwart listeners, active on the Facebook page, posts and says, "Does anyone have any theories about why writers like Geoff Johns have mediocre stories when it comes to live TV as compared to their comic and animation stories? I'm thinking it's because they have more control over their content in these other mediums." And my opinion is, yeah, they do have more control over the other mediums in a lot of ways. Including like the high concept, big scale way. Like you can do a lot more in a comic book or an animated movie than you can on television.
Yeah, you cannot make Blackest Night
Yeah.
going straight to television. Like the only way something like that happens is if you already have the graphic novel, or TPB version of it.
Mm-hmm.
And as a template of, no, this worked and this is what it looks like. Yeah, I don't think you could describe that to a group of like a writer's room and make it out in the same form in any capacity.
And Geoff Johns is really good at like digging into the mythos. Like that dude's like a walking encyclopedia
Yeah,
of DC.
that's one of his
material.
It's one of his skill sets that I think there aren't a lot of people who could have done what he did while he was doing it. He's very unique that way, that he can pull together so many different threads. It's one of his gifts,
Yeah.
He's really good at it.
And anything that's going to be on television or movies is going to have to be incredibly watered down for the general audience. It's got to have to be like broken up because you just can't do all of the things that comic books do. You can't get as intricate into the storylines.
Yeah.
I
mean,
also,
it has to be more cohesive and linear than it does in written form.
And I will also say, though, the mediocrity of Geoff Johns or anyone else's television or film work is incredibly subjective. And in the case of Johns, it is mostly hit rather than miss, in my opinion.
I think so.
And there are definitely times when stuff falls flat for me. Like, Dick in the Air, finales for Titans. Big miss. Big. Hunkin' miss.
You have not been a fan of the Titans finales, no.
And I also think that's true of the comics. Like there are things that Geoff Johns has done that has missed for me. Batman Earth 1 is mostly a miss for me. I love his Alfred though.
Yeah,
Like
that's good.
that Alfred is worth bringing over.
But I could name
So-
so many other people that have the same. Like Grant Morrison is
Mhm.
2/3 hit, 1/3 miss to me, and when he misses for me, it misses hard. Like
Yeah.
I can't finish it. Kind of miss.
But when you are a creative person, like if you're doing this for your job, I mean, think of how much you accidentally screw up on your job.
Oh,
Like, some days you're not in it.
the word
you still gotta do it.
regularly comes to mind.
Sometimes it's hard to be a writer, man. I'm not a professional writer. I've tried to be. I've tried to write every day. It's hard.
It really is.
It is hard. I am, and believe it or not, I am way better at writing than I am speaking.
You are.
I am. Like I actually have cohesive thoughts. Like I don't write and all the time. I can not get sidetracked. But I'm just way better at writing. But writing is hard.
Yeah.
It is super hard.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to tell you.
My thing is always like anytime I write, it's either I can't get traction or the traction is so good that I can't keep up and I lose stuff.
Mm-hmm. I was in a writing course in college, and we had to write a chapter of a story a week. And at the end of the class, we were supposed to put all the chapters together and submit the short story, and that was going to be a huge chunk of our final grade. And I was just like, you know what? I don't like any of this. And I rewrote it, all of it, the night before. It was supposed to be a 23-page thing. I turned in a 65-page story and got an A on it.
Yeah.
Having rewritten the entire thing. I am not a bad writer, but writing is hard.
It is.
So,
and the fits and spurts method that I'm talking about has to do with my brain. It doesn't matter if I'm writing something creatively that's really literally just for me. Mm-hmm. No one will ever see it. Or if it's just, it's been a long time since I've had to write like a scientific paper of any kind. But I haven't had to put out 10,000 APA reference citations or 10 pages or whatever. It's been a while since I've had to do notation and all that shit. But even then, that's how it happened. I'd sit down, maybe get like a paragraph, and then something would click in my brain, and I would sit down, and most of it would be finished in no time. And then I'd have to go back one more time and look at it and be like, oh, yeah, this, and refine and done. But when it happened, it happened. When it wasn't happening, it wasn't happening.
Yeah.
I do not have like the Neil Gaiman-esque just the work ethic of, no, I don't care where you are. You owe me 2,000 words a day. I don't care if you're in Tennessee, Wyoming, what you're doing, if it's at a disjointed diner in the middle of Maine, whatever. Mm-hmm. You're going to sit there and write 2,000 words for the end of the day.
Yeah.
Tall ask.
You want to talk about a little bit of news?
We probably should.
Yeah.
We should almost go back and tell people how long to skip if they just don't want to hear any of that.
Oh, I don't care.
The monthly Snyder-esque thing.
Oh, that was more of a Geoff Johns thing.
It was.
We'll get to Snyder later.
It was intertwined.
It's not much.
All
right. So we got a little Joker news. Kevin Smith was on Fat Man Beyond and was talking about the alternate ending. He says originally the ending in the hospital was different. He claims an unsighted source, someone close to the production. I generally trust Smith with this kind of thing.
He gets a bit puppy doggish every now and then, but he doesn't normally speak out of turn that hard.
He said he says the alternate ending, the original ending, he says in the hospital was different. He says Joker's in the hospital and he laughs, he chuckles, he says, I was just thinking of something funny. What was supposed to happen was you flash back to the death of Thomas and Martha Wayne, and it was him killing Thomas and Martha Wayne. And the boy is screaming and crying, and Joker turns to walk away, and then turns, shrugs, and shoots the kid. Credits. This world has no Batman, Smith says, and I want that ending so much.
I like this more.
You like the kid dying? You like
no,
Bruce
no,
dying?
I like what we have more. It's open-ended, okay, but in the way that I appreciate versus the way that I hate. Mm-hmm. And yeah, like it. I like there being an openness to the universe, and I like that this one has interpretations, but it's not like the leave you on the edge of your seat. Well, you make it up your own Sopranos / Inception style, come up with your own ending thing. Like I used to read Build Your Own Adventures when I was a fucking kid. I don't want that anymore. I want you to tell your story. So this one, though, it was like this ending gave me enough that I feel like the story was told and I can interpret what I was given without feeling a little bit cheated in the way that I sometimes do. And my frustration with that is a subjective thing, I know, but that is the thing that gets to me. Whereas that ending would have left me being like, I don't, I mean, it makes sense.
Now, here's why I think they didn't do it, though. Here's why I think they didn't do it. Todd Phillips was talking to Variety, and he says, it's a beautiful Gotham. What I would like to see someone tackle is what Batman looks like from that Gotham. And he's quick to go, I'm not saying I'm going to do that. What was interesting to me about the inclusion of Batman in our movie was what kind of Batman does that Gotham make? Yeah. I think it's floating around in his head.
It must be to some extent.
I think he wanted to leave himself open to it, or someone else open to it at least.
Here's a wild, just if it ever happens, I can say I said it might happen one day thing. Uh-huh. Bear with me. Puerto Rican Batman.
Wait, now what now?
Puerto Rican Batman. I said bear with me.
I need context. I mean, I'm not open. I'm not like actively opposed or anything. I want to know what you're talking about.
It would be a fun opportunity to invite a POC Batman into the conversation, and it would make sense here. Because here's my thing. There is a thing that actually happened in New York where I forget the name, but it was a largely Puerto Rican group of people that were part of an uprising where they were literally burning. I cannot remember the name. It's kind of bothering me right now. But they were literally burning garbage in the streets because the sanitation in a certain area, which was a largely Puerto Rican populated area, had it just gone to absolute shit. Like this was during that era of like when people write about Gotham these days, a lot of it has to do with the middle, like the mid to early 80s, really dark, super crime ridden versions of New York City that were actually kind of a real thing. It was genuinely for a minute there. It was, I mean, it's far better now. I haven't been there in several years, but it's far better than the hype at the time. But it was genuinely going through a crime and just like city resources problem. So at some point, sanitation just stopped being able to get to certain areas. And there's a group of people, and God, I wish I remembered their name, but one of the things they did was they protested by literally burning trash in the streets. And it eventually got to the point where they were taking over, like literally guns in hand, took over a hospital to demand another hospital because the ones they got the ones that were available for their area were literally so bad that the surgeons didn't have enough water pressure in the fucking hand sinks to properly wash their hands before surgery. We're talking like tenement style Dickensian conditions, right?
Right. Derelict.
Yeah, it was bad. And take it for what it's worth. There were some things the group clearly went too far on, and there were some points they made. But this film went through a lot of trouble to point out that this was literally a trashy city. I was Mario for a second. A trashy city. So, in my grim rebuilding of this world, trashy city, I know some people who stood up for that once and made a change. Fucking put one of them in a bat suit.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Interesting.
God, I'm going to have to look up the name later on who that group was.
Todd Phillips on Rumble with Michael Moore, which is a podcast that I didn't realize Michael Moore had because I don't follow Michael Moore.
Hey, he's still got a platform. I've seen him here and there.
Says, when the regime changed on the Warner side, the regime also changed on the DC side. They put a guy in charge at DC, Walter Hamada, who had been running a small horror label at New Line. So he didn't have muscle to stop it. And I'm not saying he would have, but he didn't get it. Talking about Joker. And because on paper it's crazy, he just stepped into this new job and we just made Shazam and Wonder Woman. We're doing okay. Do we really want to mess with the formula? And so I really understood his point. But in some ways, I had enough weight behind me at that point. Not overrule it, because they could have easily said no. But we just kept our foot on the gas and the squeaky wheel gets the grease, as you say. We just made a thing of it for a long time. Truth be told, the budget was so small, and I say so small in relation to other comic book films, not small. We ultimately made the movie for $60 million, but at Warner Brothers, or at DC, that's like an independent film to them. So we kept it under the radar, and so small that in some way it felt like, not a can't lose, but like, okay, what can we really lose on this if it's a disaster and nobody wants to see it, if it's boring?
Yeah.
So they just let us go and do it.
Yeah. I think it was such a low budget that you were able to say, like, look, worst case scenario, we're probably going to make dollar for dollar our money back. Mm-hmm. You'll call it a wash. You can write it off on that year's taxes, for God's sake. Mm-hmm. Like, misadventure, tax deductible. No problem.
Which is, I'm sure, why they chose to release Cats on the same day as Rise of Skywalker.
Of course.
Oh, Universal.
Yeah.
Like, I just want to know, at what point did someone bring up the producers? Actually, we could make more if it's a flop. What do we need to do? Because this is bad.
If only we had a recorded history of something we could relate to help us judge and guide and mitigate the situation. Well, I've never heard of anything. Somewhere in the side, somewhere down the street, Nathan Lane was running at them, yelling, "I can help you! I can help you!" And they got in a cab and just drove off.
I was thinking Gene Wilder.
Yeah, there too.
Yeah, I'm an old producer's guy.
All valid, as we say.
Indeed. So the Joker movie script has been officially released online. I haven't read it, but
I'm curious. I
it
never
is
got to see it a second time in theaters, and I do have the digital copy now, and I've still not been able to sit down and watch it. But
I've read some of the stuff that it like confirms in there.
Mm-hmm.
Like like Zazie Beetz' character lives.
Oh, cool.
Like there's like a little scene in there where she's watching. They show her see Joker murder
Murray
De Niro.
Yeah.
And that's so. Like Todd Phillips had pointed out that like he doesn't actually kill, and Todd Phillips actually came out and said like specifically like, oh no, she was not meant to die. Like he does not kill anyone who didn't wrong him.
Yeah, I mean, if the scene with his compatriot clowns says anything, it's that.
Yeah. Now in my head though, the ambulance and the way they shot it and the way they edited made me feel like he did kill her, and that he, in his psychotic state, believed that her not remembering their fake romance was in a way wronging him. But because obviously he's having trouble remembering or realizing what's real and what's not.
Yeah, he's borderline delusional the entire time. He's an unreliable narrator, so that was part of the problem, is you don't know what parts of the story he's feeling and perceiving and what parts of the story happen. So you don't know from that when to judge. If somebody says he didn't kill anybody who didn't wrong him, I still don't really know. Well, I mean, like, wrong him in the sense that I believe he was wronged, or wrong him in the sense that he was, because those are conversations we need to have. One of the reasons I love the film is you can have that conversation.
Yep. So for anyone who cares, Joker at the Golden Globes won Best Original Score, and Joaquin won Best Actor.
Hell yeah, on both.
And this is one of my favorite things. After the awards, a reporter asked him about his process of getting into the character of Arthur Fleck.
Mm-hmm.
And Joaquin Phoenix just looks done. He just looks done, man. And he goes, "Isn't this old news? I feel like I've talked about this for 6 months. I mean, I feel like I answered this question. Do you want to hear a different version of it? Should I try and change it slightly, or what should I do?" He then,
what do you want from me?
He did, and I didn't include it because he's absolutely right. There's like a huge paragraph where he just nauseatingly and annoyed goes over everything that he's been saying in articles and in the press for months about how he prepared for this character. We have talked about it all.
Yeah.
And then he very quietly at the end of that goes, "I just feel like I answered it 6 months ago."
I feel like I didn't appreciate him as much as I should have before. And now,
he's fantastic,
especially during his press adventures. You know what I wish he had done though? When that character comes out, or when that reporter comes up, I was like, "So how did you prepare for the character?" And he could pull it off too. Just kind of stop and blink and twist his head a little bit and deadpan, kind of look into the guy's eyes and just said, "I thought about you," and just walk away. Just fucking stroll in the other direction. That guy is sleeping with his fucking lights on that night.
Oh my gosh. But yeah. With that being said, how do you feel, man? I think it's a new year. I think it's time to move any subsequent Joker news or conversation to the back of the line.
Oh yeah. Unless a sequel's announced.
Yeah.
Back of the line.
Yeah, this is going to be like, this is going to be after we talk about Zack Snyder or something.
I mean, that, or if he gets another big award, which, by the way, we didn't stop to congratulate, but yes, he deserved it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
We took it for granted, but I'll say it out loud.
Mm-hmm.
If he pulls off an Oscar, we'll have a conversation about it.
Absolutely. All right, so I don't have a ton of Birds of Prey news, but they did release a few different TV spots, and they have a new one, though, that has a little bit of new footage with Harley shooting some poor bastard.
Nice.
And it's a lot of fun. My favorite thing, though, is they had the song that's playing is "Girl, You'll Be a Woman Soon." This is a Neil Diamond song, but this is the Urge Overkill version that was on Pulp Fiction.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that song, and it's so dumb. Like, me and my wife will be out or whatever at the store or whatever, and if I see an attractive woman walk by, I'll just look at my wife and go, "Girl, do do do."
Oh, God help you.
You'll be a woman soon. It always gets a laugh.
Always works with me at home.
But it's just one of those. I love that song, and it's brilliant in the spot. So
I vaguely remember the song. Who'd you say it was? It feels like an Orbison.
It's no, it was originally by Neil Diamond, but the
Okay. Yeah.
the version I actually really like is Urge Overkill, and that was the version that was on Pulp Fiction.
Ah.
Yeah.
That's
So,
fair.
Anyway, over to Wonder Woman 1984. Adam Tickets is reporting that Wonder Woman 84 is the most anticipated movie of 2020, which is strange because Adam Tickets' top 5 does not include Birds of Prey, but IMDb is saying that Birds of Prey is the most anticipated movie of 2020.
So win-win for us viewers?
I guess so, but of course, look, that is a great example of how you take a positive note while I took the negative route. You said it's a win-win. My thought was, so all these things are bullshit. These most anticipated movie lists are bullshit.
Oh, they are. They are outright bullshit. Yeah.
Nobody knows.
No. No.
All right.
It's an impossibility to think you have your hand on the pulse of that, thumb on the pulse of that. It's stupid.
Mm-hmm. Wade Gravitt at Wade Grav posted some pictures of the Batman filming outside of his offices in London. So we have a possible look at a blonde, I surmise silver-haired Colin Farrell holding an umbrella. I won't say it might be Penguin. I will say it might be Colin. It looks like Colin, but it's also very blurry and very far away. So
let me pull this up. I want to make sure I've seen this.
There is room for it to be someone else, but just in case we were wondering if it could be Colin Farrell.
Jesus Christ! What is happening?
I don't know. What is happening? What?
Good God! I opened one of your links and it just started sending me music.
Yeah, it does that. All of these links.
Fucking Christ.
Yeah.
I mean, it just blew my speakers away. Like, my ears hurt right now.
I'm so sorry.
God damn it. This problem has been around for 20 fucking years, Internet. Mm-hmm. You do not need to be at full volume when you play your little sidebars. Mm-hmm. Half volume, bitch. Quarter, really.
That's right.
I want legislation.
So,
I will also say that, in my opinion, that is 100% silver-haired Colin Farrell.
Okay. So, for anyone who thinks it might be Colin Farrell and not the Penguin, Matt Reeves has confirmed that he is playing the Penguin. He posted a picture of Colin Farrell and said, "Is that you, Oz?" And the thing I love about that is Oz is what he was called in the Telltale games. And it's very clear that this looks like somewhat inspired by the Telltale games.
I didn't see it, but okay.
Go check out. Just look up Penguin storyline on the Telltale games.
Telltale games. Yeah. Okay. No, sorry. I got you.
He's a very thin, Colin Farrell-esque type of penguin who is, British little twat.
Yeah, fair enough. I do remember the franchise now you're talking about. Sorry, my ears are still fucking ringing. That was incredibly
it's okay.
loud. I get what you're saying.
Mm-hmm. So the big thing for me, though, and forgive me if I missed something in the news, but we've previously heard over and over that the Batman was set in the early 90s, but there are Gotham action news vans that are like touting HD. And I know HD TV sets, I had to look it up, but they became available in the US in 98.
Mm-hmm.
And the broadcast began in November of 1998. So I guess that could still be the late 90s. But
yeah, it could be, but
they could also be doing like a timeless thing like Gotham did, like Batman the Animated Series did,
Yeah.
Because the Gotham police cars and the vans definitely look older. They look like they're from like the 80s or something, 70s or 80s.
Yeah, but I feel like in a service truck for a city, I see that kind of quality here and there. Like everything from, oh my God, how did you get this van to, oh my God, where did you get this van?
You want to hear something cool about some set pics you don't have?
Sure.
Someone posted a set of pics and it got deleted. It got taken down. I didn't see them.
Uh-huh.
The caption was something along the lines of, "Oh my God, we're going to get airships."
Okay.
I want the big police balloons.
It would make me happy on a lot of levels. They're impractical.
They are impractical, but I don't care. I mean, if we're doing like the noir tone that Matt Reeves has talked about,
yeah,
there better be some airships, man. That's some like, oh my God, that's some gorgeous shit. Like they're in all the Jim Lee drawings, they're in Batman the Animated Series. I want me some airships. I don't know why I don't know how that would work to any like plausible,
I wouldn't object.
practical police force.
I mean, scientifically, I would object because I don't think those can be directionally controlled in a way that makes any damn sense. But yeah, but atmospherically, they always have fit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You can't guide the fuckers. They just kind of go.
I understand, and I think it still fits though in terms of like you just see them kind of like slowly lumbering along like giant air sloths.
Yeah, there's
occasionally a spotlight is used to grab somebody before it wafts into the wrong direction.
Yeah, there's probably about a dozen, 15 ish maybe buildings in Birmingham.
Mm-hmm.
Alabama does not have a skyscraper between them. Not a traditional one, not like the ones you'd be thinking of.
Right.
If I say the word skyscraper. It's like ours are like sky get a closer lookers. That's it. They 35-ish levels, I want to say. Last time I was on something that went up as high as any of them.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them has always confused me because it had this, you could see it in the Birmingham skyline just a little bit. You could see like this little platform going out from the top of one of them. And I always thought, I don't know what that is. And then somebody at some point sent me a photo of, it was that same platform, same building. All that's been kept intact, I think, for historical reasons.
Uh-huh.
And that used to be a drop off for blimp rides.
Oh.
So there's this photo of, Jesus Christ.
You're having all sorts of problems over there.
Fucking firefighters. My dog's going to start barking in a minute. It's going to be a neighbor homicide. I don't know.
Uh-huh.
But they sent me this photo and it's really fucking jankety as hell, man. I mean, it's like it's pretty high up. It's high up enough, definitely, that it's way beyond anything I'm comfortable with.
Uh-huh.
And they're up there and it's kind of like you can see people walking across the platform, but the whole time the platform's going back and forth.
Uh-huh.
I mean, just wafting in the wind. And it's kind of tethered down, but like as someone who has way more familiarity with boats, I know how much trouble it is to even tie down a boat in wakey fucking choppy water.
Yeah.
It's a bitch.
It is.
You're about to lose a finger half the time when you're like actually tying it off.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot even imagine that. And there was a blimp and it somehow seemed tethered. And there's these people just kind of like, and they're in like nice, one of them, I swear to God, one of them had a petticoat.
As one does when they're riding an air blimp.
Exactly. Like people used to dress up for air travel. That was the thing. So,
I mean, you don't want to die looking like a.
That would be my thing. Is I'm going to die with a clean pair of underwear and looking dapper.
Right.
I'm going to be a
my
dapper shark mill is what I'm thinking.
Right.
But yeah, like it's an image that now always comes to mind when people talk to me about blimps. Is that fucking godforsaken? I don't know how many people died trying to get on thing. Like it looked so shaky that if your wife was walking in front of you and she just went over the edge, the person guiding the ship would just kind of look over and go, "What? One more room for somebody," and just kind of like laughingly with red cheeks. And I imagine a big waxed beard and mustache.
Naturally.
Like, come on, next person up. You there in the back. We have room now.
Right.
It's just people shrugging off like, people got to die some way.
Well, look, man, I understand that it doesn't make any sense. I understand that it's not like practical in any way, shape, or form, but I want it.
No, in our brains, we were raised under BTAS, and it would atmospherically, it would be very rewarding, and I completely agree.
I want the tagline for the movie to be, "You will believe a blimp can fly."
It would be, "You would believe a blimp can do anything other than float and kill people."
All aboard, now taking tickets for the murder blimp.
Yeah. We don't know when anyone's getting off a riff, but if risking your mortgage on a Vegas table isn't getting you enough kicks anymore, then come on down. It's prohibition area. Who the fuck cares anyway?
If you don't fall off, you'll burn. Welcome to the Hindenburg.
I read a story recently with a blimp where they hit the ground at what must have been about 10 miles an hour. Like enough that if you were in a car wreck, you wouldn't even have whiplash.
Yeah.
But it was just enough to spark the chemicals in the hydrogen, and every fucking person died.
Uh-huh.
Because that's how that worked.
Oh, the humanity.
Exactly.
Hey, but you remember, you will recall the alternate universe on Fringe was badass because of the airships.
Yeah, I remember I was thinking like, oh, hell yeah.
They have airships.
Yeah. I'm sure there's a better way to design a so-called airship rather than blimp.
Yeah. I do like
wanna
it.
rag on it, but
I do like it symbolically for Gotham. Like the idea that the police decide that they're going to have these like looming presence floating above the
in
entire
sense that
city
there's
all the
eye
time.
in the skies, or like the Goodyear blimp that travels from game to game and gives you the giant overhead shot here and there. Yeah, oh yeah, I get it there. That makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I do know they're more guidable than I've been letting on, but still.
They are, but it's still fun to make fun of. Hey, Robert Pattinson. They have pictures of him wearing a bandana over his face.
On the motorcycle?
Yeah, he's on a motorcycle. He's got a backpack.
Yep.
Dude, those are different Snyder vibes. Looking like 0 Year over here.
Oh, yeah. See, Ryan Hulsman sent me that, and then he pointed out, because I was like, oh, dude, some year one shit. And he was like, well, and then he sent me a picture with 0 Year. I was like, oh, shit. That's more accurate. Yep, good call, buddy.
Yeah. And I adore the 0 Year Batman costume, too. Like, I would love it if they went that route. I don't know why, but I always like little pouches, little pouches on the legs and stuff. Almost as much as a leg belt, Brent from Fans Without Borders. We like talking about leg belts. We like leg belts, I should say, more than we like talking about them.
Gotcha.
But
yeah.
It's a 90s thing.
Like the leg belt where you like would put a gun? Not a leg holster. Or like a fancy leg holster?
Oh, well, no. In the 90s, leg belts were just things. You didn't put things in them.
Well, shit, hold on. You just keep talking. I'm going to look it up real quick.
No, look up
literally search for leg belt. That should get somewhere.
Look up Superboy. Look up Superboy 1993, like Reign of the Supermen. He's got leg belts.
Oh, I do remember that.
There ain't no point in them.
I do remember that. No. No.
Now, I also like Dark Knight Returns leg belt, but he had pouches, and there were like reasons for that shit. That's also badass.
Yeah.
And, they had a combination of things.
Red Sun version where it just got pouches every damn where.
Yeah.
I swear that dude had batarangs in his little ear flappy hat thing.
Mm-hmm. But you know what? Like 90s X-Men, those assholes had leg belts and they had nothing in them. They had
I could swear
arm
remember
belts, leg
Cyclops
belts.
just had one for no good reason.
Yeah, he had like 2 leg belts on each leg.
That makes sense.
And then like 2 calf belts for no reason.
That makes sense too.
On each leg. Like,
what's that? It's the one version of leg belt that makes sense to me, and I can't remember her name. It's one of Big Bertha's like
Big
3
Barda?
Furies. Big Barda's Furies.
Big Bertha.
Big Bertha's. Sorry. My bad.
Oh,
my bad. I genuinely feel terrible about that. It's one of her Furies. It's the one that can it looks like she's in bandages and she can pull them off and whip you with them.
Yeah, I can't remember her name for some
reason. Can't
reason.
remember her name, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I do.
Looks right there. That's functional.
Yeah, that makes sense. And like I said, Dark Knight Returns Batman, when he's like up on the top of the roof with the grappling gun, he's got like the leg belt. There's like, absolutely.
Nice. Ooh, here's a fun one, just for keeping it current. You remember Golden Glider?
Golden, yes.
Snart's sister?
Yes.
I finally got to catch up on some Flash that I was behind on. Because it was one of the situations where I was behind one book that didn't come in when I needed to, so I had to put it aside for the moment. And then that got backlogged because everything else came out before it, and I was catching up on stuff, and I had to go back for that and everything. Jumping around as is. And I finally got time this weekend to catch up, and it's like Golden Glider's got kind of those bandages, but she at some point became ethereal, and she can bind people kind of back to reality by whipping them with those little thingies. So it became like a slight version of the whippy feel to it, but it definitely had a different effect entirely.
It looks
but
like
it's on my mind recently because I think I did that yesterday. Yeah, I did that yesterday.
Looks like that Fury's name is Lashina, by the way, or Lashina.
I'll go with it. I'm sure if you found it, it can only be the one thing.
I mean, she's wrapped in bandages. I don't know.
Gotta be her.
Yeah.
Don't think they made a ton of them. Pretty sure it's just her.
I have a hard time remembering all the Furies and stuff. Like the new gods in general. Like I don't think there were names.
I think she was singularly the one with that gimmick. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. There was, the big one. I want to say Stampa. I remember Mad Harriet. So She was like Joker Fury.
I
So
remember that. God, I was thinking of Big Barda. That's why my brain got crossed up.
there's one that looks like Joker,
There.
like a female Joker / Creeper.
Oh, yeah.
I'm pretty sure her
She
name
actually
is Mad
reminds me a
Harriet.
little bit of Murmur in a way.
Oh, okay. I can see that. But
I don't remember any of their names though. Shit. They come and go, and like every time I see them, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, that thing.
mm-hmm.
I'm always way more confused about Granny Goodness being a thing.
Oh,
I've never had the
Granny
mental
Goodness.
space to focus on the Furies themselves.
Yeah, that's all right.
It's that big,
All right.
big Barda. Big Barda. God damn it. Get that in your brain. Big Barda.
Big Barda. Deadline is reporting that
Mhm.
accomplished costume designer Jacqueline Duran
Sure.
is on board to make the costumes in the Batman. She worked on Little Women. She worked on 1917. So those are kind of big movies that's
Sure.
happening, and the costumes look phenomenal. So I'm happy to see her coming over to the Batman,
Sure.
especially if we're doing like noir Batman.
Yeah,
yes.
Kind of looking like.
Yes.
If not, that's the funny part is what I'm seeing right now in the still shots, the screens is it's not like noir in the sense that we grew up with it.
Maybe.
To
Maybe
some
it will,
extent,
maybe it
noir when we grew up with it was Dick
Uh-huh.
Tracy-esque, like really 80s style, but reminiscent of 40s and 50s. Noir can maybe kind of come across differently these days, and I kind of hope it does.
I don't know what I don't know.
You know what I don't want?
Part of me,
I don't want shoulder
What?
pads. Let's start there and
Okay.
work backwards, and I'm good.
depending, I don't know. I could deal with some shoulder pads if it's done well.
I think McGregor could pull them off if he had to, but
If we're doing like seedy like fantasy sequences in the number 23 type of stuff, I'm down for that. I'm
Yeah,
down for
I get it.
Batman the Animated Series, obviously, that kind of thing.
yeah.
Dude, as far as I'm concerned, we could do a whole Matt Reeves DC universe. Start with Batman, bridge over. Like we could just do like seedy underbelly 1940s looking Batman stuff, and then pop over to Superman and do like, Superman in the World of Tomorrow, like total like Sky Captain in the World of Tomorrow, like retro futuristic shit, like All-Star Superman. Oh my God, I would just weep with joy.
Just the hint of steam.
Yeah,
Just a hint. Not too much.
not too
Just a
much.
hint. Like that
Not
motorcycle
too
that Pattinson's on, to me, is like just the hint of steam.
Mm-hmm.
It's good. It looks rugged, but it still looks very functional and stylistic. I like that. I can dig that.
Yeah.
I would never own a motorcycle because I have attention deficit disorder and I would die.
Uh-huh.
But were I to, that looks like a good one.
Mm-hmm. James Gunn was doing a little Q&A. Someone asked him, will we see Harley Quinn in the same outfit as in previous films? James Gunn replies, nope.
I like it. Definitive. Nah.
Yep. One fan asked what
Nine.
has made that one fan asked him what has made the production on Suicide Squad so much fun, because Gunn has said numerous times before that this is the most fun he's had working on a movie. James Gunn answers, mostly I've just grown as a person. I'm allowing myself to enjoy the movie making process for the first time ever, but also I have the greatest crew I've ever had. All of the best folks from volume 1, 2, and 3 assembled together in a super crew. I adore the cast, and the producers are some of my best friends in the world. Peter Safran, Chuck Roven. He says, I love my screenplay, and I've changed up my style of shooting on this one, so it's more fun and visceral, etc. That all sounds wonderful to me.
Yeah.
I like that he's changed up his style of shooting, because now it's like disrupting my own expectation for the movie.
Uh-huh.
Because I have a very like nuanced idea of what James Gunn's style of shooting looks like based on the Guardians of the Galaxy movies and Slither.
Yeah.
So now I don't know what to expect.
You got to abandon all that. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. That kind of restriction is good, though. It's good every now and then. I mean, there are artists who have literally just shown up and been like, I know how to play this instrument, but I'm just going to not allow myself to do that anymore for this album.
Yep.
My favorite example of all was Carano from Yeah Yeah Yeahs. I forget the name of the guitarist, and I'm a little bit ashamed because I love indie music and I should know better.
Mm-hmm.
But they showed up to produce the It's Blitz, I think, was the album.
Uh-huh.
And he, who was known as a fantastic riff artist. If you listen to the IAS, like that guy can make a fucking rock song. And she just showed up and said, like, you're not going to play guitar on this album. He's like, what? Are you replacing me? He's like, no, you're just not going to play guitar on this album.
Wow.
Pick another instrument. Do whatever you want to do. You're not playing guitar.
That's great.
I love it. Oh, Brian Eno has this set of cards.
Mm-hmm.
And he showed up with everyone from David Bowie to Lennon and so on. Pick somebody. But Brian Eno has...
Bing Crosby.
All right, you got me. He's shown up at a lot of places though, and he has these random cards that are like abandon the time signature, or take your main instrument and switch it to something else. Like arbitrary notes, but you have to use them. That's the idea of producing with him, and when they're doing this method,
Mm-hmm.
I like it. Imposed restrictions makes you more creative in certain ways.
Yeah, I agree with that. All right, so Black Adam has been posting. The Rock has been posting.
Oh, he's already,
It's already
in your
there.
brain.
It's already there.
Yeah.
It's already there.
You're already on board.
The Rock has been posting pictures of him training, of himself training, and he looks dope.
Oh yeah, he's swole.
My pastor's a big Shazam fan, and I was like, dude, you gotta look at this. He looked at it, and my pastor works out, so he was like, looks at it and goes, he looks dehydrated. Accurate?
I agree. And also, you showed me the same two pictures, and I looked at the veins and thought, like, yeah, he's got a really high blood sugar content right now, and I don't know if he's okay. Like, he needs to go chug 1.5 gallons of water right now.
Yeah.
But
he looks dope. He looks
I'm
perfect.
sure he's fine. He's got the best doctors in the world working on him.
Writes New Era, Black Adam, shooting this summer. And he actually posted a third picture of him working out where he just looks crazy huge and says the hierarchy of power in the DC universe is about to change.
Nice.
I love his enthusiasm for it. I love that he's so down with the character.
Oh, I have the entire time. His enthusiasm has always been, forgive the term, electrifying.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, but it's real. That was real then. People tuned into wrestling that didn't give a shit just to see him. Dude's got charisma. I mean,
yes, he does.
He's got it.
Yes, he does.
But he, the enthusiasm here and the I like his drive in this capacity alone to be like, no, I'm going to be the swole motherfucker on any of these sets. Like, any of them are going to have to look at me and be like, oh my God, how do I deal with that? I love the idea that the writers are going to have to look at him and be like, shit, we're going to have to make this work.
Yep. Okay. We're going to talk about David Ayer's Suicide Squad here.
Okay.
Super _nerd 00 on Twitter was talking about Suicide Squad, the first movie, and says that whole I have to build my machine thing for Enchantress was ridiculous. Her abilities alone were enough of a challenge. Outside of that, I really enjoyed it. And David Ayer, he was even talking to David Ayer, and David Ayer responded and said, it was supposed to be a boom tube, as she was under control of a mother box. All the apocalypse elements were stripped out late in the game. The machine concept was an attempt to create a ticking clock and world threat.
Yeah.
This is exactly what we speculated years ago when the Christian Lorenz Schurer concept art started getting posted online. You remember that? Like all of boom tubes above the city, parademons instead of whatever the doo-doo ball-headed monsters they wound up with. Man, oh my God, I want that. I want that version.
I know. It was meant to be a different thing.
It was.
And the only thing I resent about the film as I was given it was some of the parts, structurally it holds together. It's just that some of the parts that were like the working parts of that structure felt like placekeepers.
Yeah.
It felt a little bit like someone who just, it's like they never got a better idea. But I think instead it was they had a better idea and they had to work backwards to a workable idea.
Yeah, I feel like Warner Brothers came in and said, oh, by the way, BVS didn't do great, so everyone's freaking out. You got to get rid of that because the shared universe aspect of BVS was kind of shit on. So we're yanking all that out, and to make Zack Snyder's show make more sense, we can't have previous stuff. So you just got to make that something else.
Yeah.
Since you've already shot all the mocaps and things.
Yeah.
It's horseshit.
I think it was the fault of a franchise that at that point wasn't completely sure where they were going. And not that they hadn't made some beautiful content. They just weren't sure what they were willing to stand by. Because again, the execs I think are the real villains here. And Yeah. What you end up getting is some mediocre middle ground, this will work, instead of artists doing what they're made to do kind of thing.
Yep, yeah, absolutely. All right, over to Zack Snyder's Justice League. They've released a shirt from Ink to the People. It is a situation where you go and it's like a T-shirt. There's also a hoodie, and you pay money for this thing, and it goes to the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. And here's something though that's really cool about it. And I totally want one of the T-shirts. I'm not much of a hoodie guy for the most part, but totally want one of the T-shirts. But both feature logos from the DCU. And there's like a big Justice League logo, but it does very specifically say Zack Snyder's Justice League, which is how Snyder has started referring to it on Vero. Like he actually goes to the trouble of capitalizing Zack Snyder's Justice League.
It's not a bad call. Rebrand it that way, and maybe that's the best option to maybe getting that cut.
Oh, well, okay. We'll get to that. But here's the thing. It's got logos from the DCEU on both of these things. Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Flash, and Cyborg.
Naturally.
But it doesn't stop there. There's also a Green Lantern and a Martian Manhunter logo.
Okay, the Green Lantern was supposed to be there from the beginning. That was the original slate we were given. We were supposed to be bordering on a Green Lantern film right now.
Martian Manhunter, apparently, according to the storyboards, was there too.
According to the storyboards.
Was going to be there by the end of this thing.
My only objection is that Snyder himself does not like that character very much.
No, that wasn't the story. David Goyer hates Martian Manhunter.
I am sorry. That was David Goyer.
Mm-hmm.
I retract my previous sentence. Apologies.
That's right.
Apologies.
Zack Snyder was setting up freaking Harry Lennox to be Manhunter the whole time.
Yeah, I remember that part in the storyboards.
Now,
in my head for a second, I thought that was something he was doing to hedge his bets. And, it was just sorry, David Goyer being David Goyer and Snyder accepting everything like he did.
Now, as reported by DC Film Squadcast, Zack Snyder entered into negotiations with WB in November to release the Snyder Cut. So, since Zack has started referring to it as, quote, Zack Snyder's Justice League a little while ago, a few weeks ago, and now we see it in logo form. And Ink to the People did confirm that they got that logo from Snyder. And he has logos that he arguably does not have the rights to use on that shirt. Scott and Tim at Squadcast have said they think that this is now shifted from a negotiation tactic to actual marketing.
No.
I can't say I disagree, man.
No,
I really
not
can't.
yet.
You don't think yet?
No, not yet.
I think
rebranding
totally.
as Zack Snyder Justice League is great call and really good footing. But this was still essentially a promotional thing for a charity.
Mm-hmm.
That is different.
Mm-hmm.
That is different than just actual marketing. Like
There's
fundamentally
an argument
different
for
than
that,
actual marketing. Like
Yeah.
legally, taxably different than actual marketing. That's an entirely different ballgame.
I do think it's interesting that he added Green Lantern and Manhunter in there, and someone
And
actually.
I'd love to see it. Like I'd love to have the shirt.
Yes,
and shit.
yes.
I may go buy it, but it is fun.
I'll provide a link. Now,
I may own that and the hoodie. I am a hoodie kind of guy
yeah,
because the wind makes my ears cold.
I know.
I may I may get both of these things, but
I remember you walking in with a hoodie and referencing that great Futurama. I'm like, hey man, you're like, my ears are cold. If you don't know what I'm talking about, where no fan has gone before, where Shatner and the rest of the Star Trek crew have been given new bodies, and they're fighting the Futurama crew, and Shatner takes off his boot and throws it at Leela, and then forlornly stares down at his foot and goes, "My foot is cold."
Yeah, there's a great, just a couple seconds of pause where like an awkward, did that just happen? And no one's saying anything, and he just says, "My foot's cold," in a way that only Shatner could muster.
Oh my God, it's such a
Because
wonderful episode.
He found a way.
He found a way.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. The demand for this thing killed the site for a second. Like they actually destroyed the Ink to the People site. The servers crashed because they couldn't keep up with the demand. So that's pretty cool.
I mean, it's cool. It's also cool that there was that much going to suicide prevention for
Absolutely.
exactly the kind of reason that I think Snyder would be on board with. Like, Here's the thing. Even if you could fuck around with me all you want about whether we're getting the Snyder Cut. If it's all going to suicide prevention, fuck with my emotions all you want. Good cause. Do it.
Absolutely. Snyder answered a fan and said, someone asked if there were more nightmare sequences, and he just wrote, "Oh yeah."
Oh, I believe that. I believe he had an entire story plan for that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Again, love to see it.
Now, earlier this week on Twitter, or I should say last week, someone hatefully started screaming on our timeline. Perhaps they even tagged us in it someone retweeted them and tagged us in it. I can't remember which one happened, but I was aggravated with it either way. Because there was something that Snyder said that made them think that the film is 100% complete. And they were like doing that thing where they're like, for all the people in the back who didn't hear it the first time, block the people who say it's not true. Well, Zack Snyder has now come out and clarified and said, the film is not 100% finished. So suck it. He says, still some stuff I want to do.
Back.
Yes.
That thing I was saying.
Still some stuff I want to do.
Thing I've been saying.
As with every film I've made, not sure what difference it makes as to the finish level of the film. It is not 100% finished, guys. It's just not yet. It's not. I'm not saying it won't be. I'm just saying it is not right now, or at least as of December 25th. Stop finding weird reasons to block people. All right. So Snyder,
to sum up our earlier conversation, this should be a thing we're rallying around and being together on, not a divisive thing.
That's right. Absolutely.
Yes, we all want to see it. No, we don't have to hate each other if we don't think it's exactly real or at a certain stage or should exist at all. God damn it, we're all in this together.
That's right. All right. Snyder on December 25th posts a picture of Steppenwolf holding a mother box with the runtime 214 posted on it, with the caption, "What is the secret of the Grail?" Snyder then posts a black and white Batman with a shoulder in the foreground that I can't identify. And the caption says, "Who does it serve?" Then a black and white picture of Cyborg on a rooftop looking up to the sky. Caption, "You, my lord." Then a picture of Cyborg and the Flash digging Clark up. Excuse me. While Wonder Woman and Aquaman are at the van in the background. Caption, "Who am I?" Then a black and white picture of Lois and shirtless Clark at the farmhouse. Caption, "You are my lord and king. You are Arthur." Then black and white Bruce modifying his Batmobile in the Flying Fox. Caption, "Have you found the secret that I have lost?" And finally, a black and white Superman emerging from the fortress, heavily backlit, looks like the Man of Steel scene. It says, "Yes, you are in the land. You and the land are one." And there's text overlaid on top of the picture that says, "Drink from the chalice and be reborn." All of these captions are from the 1981 film Excalibur. And this is a thing. This is a movie.
Favorite of his, apparently.
Yes, it was on the marquee in Batman v Superman when Bruce's parents got shot. It was on the movie poster at the theater where the Waynes got shot in Joker. Two different versions of this now. Should we watch Excalibur?
I'm down.
I feel like we should watch Excalibur and do a Patreon review.
I'm down.
I think I'm down. I kind of want to see this.
Spend that $2.99 on Prime.
All these people are talking. Zack Snyder and Todd Phillips are jerking off to Excalibur. Yes, I think I need to see this thing.
Let's rock it.
All right. Well, we're gonna go to break real quick.
Sidebar.
Another thing that we have no control over. Another.
Hold on.
What?
Hold on.
What?
If you release the Snyder Cut as a comic book, would you not buy the shit out of it? Just like Injustice.
Yes.
I'd even take that. Give me that. Give me that DC/Warner Brothers.
I want all the things.
I know.
All right, we got a little bit of TV news, just a little, and we're going to talk about it right after this.
We all love the low country lifestyle, which is why we should do our best to protect it. To get insurance that helps you protect your home from whatever the low country throws at you, contact CT Lowndes and Company today. Their local agents can review your coverage to help make sure you're properly protected. CT Lowndes and Company has been helping protect and insuring the low country since 1850. Visit ctlowndes.com to learn more and request a quote. That's CTLOWNDES.com.
We are back. Good gracious. Jason's emptied his bladder.
Mm-hmm.
If you follow us on Twitter at DC On Screen, you would have already been privy to that.
Of course.
You gotta click the little thing to get notifications whenever we tweet.
Mm-hmm.
But you will get a thing, usually of me looking, somewhat dreary, like a picture of me going, waiting for Jason to piss on this week's episode.
Yeah.
Kind of let everyone know we're recording, things are happening. We're at the, spot in between movies and
At that part, yeah.
TV. Yeah.
And I usually just have, there's just an Instagram of me with like a toilet liver handle down.
Is there really? I didn't think
No.
you were on Instagram.
I'm not at all. No.
Oh, well, damn. Makes me sad.
Jesus, man.
What?
So many distractions tonight.
I know.
What giant ass truck just pulled into my neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
This has become.
We are in Alabama.
This is untenable.
Untenable trucks of giant proportions.
Yeah. Like, I think
Fire
someone with a
trucks.
Confederate flag just angrily pulled in next door. I can't
Yeah.
see them, but based on the sound of the truck and the gravel pulling around, I think that's what may have just happened.
So if you guys turn your podcast all the way up, you'll be able to hear some guy in the background screaming, "Don't tread on me!"
Yeah.
And
He's got the bumper sticker from the sound of it.
he'll have the bumper sticker for sure, and probably a big old pair of like metal testicles hanging from the bumper. And
Well, I mean, you do you, boo. I just, it's kind of getting in the way of my recording right now, so.
yeah, it's a problem. All right, so we got a little news on Lucifer. News that I am somehow both happy to report and disappointed to report.
I like it.
Okay.
Renewed for another season.
No. They
Fit all the criteria.
They have cast God for the final season, and it's not Neil Gaiman.
Okay, yeah, Neil Gaiman.
Neil Gaiman previously voiced God in season 3.
Yeah.
But
I think he'd make a
Did-
decent God.
yeah,
He's laid
but
back. Got a
Dennis
grandiose
Haysbert.
nature to him.
Dennis Haysbert.
The fuck is that?
Did you ever see 24?
Nope.
Okay. He was President David Palmer in 24, and
I'll look him up.
he's on Allstate commercials, I think now. He has a
Sure.
really deep voice. He's a cool guy. I don't know him from anything else though.
I'm just asking Google to correct this for me. Dennis Haysbert.
Yeah.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a really good actor. Like every time I see him on the Allstate commercials, I go, "Oh, President Palmer." Like I think I have more respect for him than I do most of our actual real life presidents.
Possibly.
Like, because, if it's just like, it's just Bush or it's just Clinton. But, when I see Dennis Haysbert, I go, President Palmer.
I have known him since the days of Major League.
That's okay. I don't know sports anything.
I'm pretty sure he was in, hold on, I think he was in the short-lived series Reigns. Or,
Okay.
not Nordstrom. Backstrom. No, he's in Backstrom
Okay.
with Rainn Wilson. That's what I was thinking of. Reigns was the short-lived Jeff Goldblum series.
Mm-hmm. So,
I think it was Backstrom. Well, I'll give you an update.
sure.
Yeah, I'm sure you're on the edge of your seat.
I am,
Backstrom.
but it's, okay, good.
Yep, nailed it. I'm sure we're all so proud.
I like Dennis Haysbert. I really do. I think, and on 24, he acted with DB Woodside. So they were brothers on that show.
Oh, okay.
And Joe
great.
Henderson.
They should already be good rapport. I like it.
Absolutely. Joe Henderson, the showrunner of Lucifer, says we did like the big crazy list of possible actors, but he was my top choice. We were lucky. It was our first and only offer. They said DB Woodside had actually come up to us and said, "Have you thought about Dennis?" And we were like, "Do you think he'd actually do it?" And he was like, "Well, I've already talked to him and sort of brought it up." And so we just went straight on to it.
Before I brought it to you.
Now, Dennis Haysbert.
What if the answer was already yes?
Dennis Haysbert says, every time I see DB, there's always this fondness and this connection. We worked on a show that was arguably one of the best shows ever produced in television, so you're going to have a kind of camaraderie. I don't know how I went from brothers to father. We're celestial. We can do that.
I actually, yeah. He's got a pretty good understanding of the show if he actually knows to say that.
Uh-huh.
At least someone who does has told him that line, and he remembered it.
So, that's also my answer for why God can stop being Neil Gaiman and be Dennis Haysbert.
Yeah.
He's celestial. He can do that.
It's literally God. He can sound like Neil Gaiman some other time, and somebody else sees a burning bush. Fuck it. I mean, in all of the stuff we talk about in DC Comics, we're also, in this version, literally God.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not the All-Father, God.
Uh-huh. That's right.
Yeah. You just go ahead and suspend that disbelief way beyond anything you thought was possible.
Mm-hmm. So over to Arrow real quick. Stephen Amell apparently celebrated Christmas Eve by watching the Arrow series finale with his mom.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
That's nice.
He said just that. He said, just watch the series finale of Arrow with my mom in London. Christmas Eve special. She's okay. She's not all right, but she's okay.
We're all coping.
And apparently they put out a synopsis for Green Arrow and the Canaries. Mm-hmm. And it says, it's the year 2040 in Star City, and Mia Queen has everything she could have ever wanted. However, when Laurel and Dinah suddenly show up in her life again, things take a shocking turn, and her perfect world is upended. Laurel and Dinah are tracking a kidnapping victim with direct ties to Mia, and they need her help. Knowing it will change everything, Mia can't help but be a hero, as she, Laurel, and Dinah suit up once again to save the city. That gives us a little hint about how Crisis works all out.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, in the sense that we already knew that a lot of the synopses for future episodes involved almost all of the people that were already around now.
Uh-huh.
It's going to affect everything in a certain way.
It's interesting that her name is not Mia Smoke anymore.
That's a good point. That's a fine point.
I know it.
I didn't catch that. Good call. I was distracted by the fact that, like, we're talking about Mia, who in the current Crisis story arc has had almost basically a moment where she asked to carry on her father's adventures. Uh-huh. And was honored by the ability to even ask, for God's sake, that she'd be worthy. Like, all that. There had so many scenes that were that. Mm-hmm. That, like, she, I don't know, it was a lot of respect and all that. Yeah. And then for her to need to be needled into being a hero later is, I'm going to see how that works out.
Oh, no, man. This, you know what this reminded me of? This synopsis reminded me of a little bit of, God, I can't remember the name of it now. The Mad Hatter episode in Batman Animated Series where Bruce wakes up and his parents are alive. And he's engaged to Selena.
Okay, yeah, there's that.
He's like, wait, there's something wrong. There's something wrong.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I think
if it's that makes a lot more sense to me up front.
I mean, just saying, you know, she has everything she could have ever wanted.
Yeah. Maybe we have that. Maybe it's that dream world aspect.
Mm-hmm.
I'm balking a little bit at the idea, but yeah, in that context, it works just fine.
Yeah. I don't know exactly what Crisis is going to do, but apparently it's going to do that, and it's also going to make the Legends somehow celebrities.
I have heard about that.
They did like a synopsis for the Legends first episode back, and they like come to the shocking realization that they're celebrities now, and they have like a camera crew on the Wave Rider.
I mean, you realize they've hinted at that already.
No, I don't know that.
First time you see Ray in Crisis, they rewrite Janis Joplin's career so that it's Tiny Robot Man instead of Cadillac Man, I think.
Oh, yeah.
They've already hinted that they have genuinely interrupted culture in a way that maybe they're getting noticed. Mm-hmm. If it comes organically from that, I'll be really on board. Yeah, if it doesn't, it's the Legends, and fucking they'll probably figure out a way to make it work. Who cares?
Yeah.
John may cast a fucking celebrity spell just to put fame on their mind, like fame, Bowie style, on their minds, and leave them out of the crushing consequences of what they just dealt with in the finale of Crisis. For all I know.
Yeah, okay. They could just like my weird secret hope is that Crisis just
sorry, that's gonna be in my head the rest of the episode.
Yeah, I know. Me too. It's
you too.
Gonna be in there for days. Yeah,
it's a good song.
It is. But I thank you, because what was in my head before, because you brought up David Bowie and said name anybody or whatever, and I said Bing Crosby. Was that, Parumpa Pum Pum with David Bowie and Bing Crosby.
Oh.
Peace
Fuck
on
all
earth.
that. Fuck all that. I'm actually, I'm happy with this now. Yeah, much better.
Yes. Anyway, so I'm hoping that by hook or by crook, Crisis just winds up wiping out the last episode of Legends, and Zari's brother's not there. She's just there again. I just don't want to lose her. I'm like, nah, I don't. And I know we're going to get her back, but I don't want to waste time seeing how that happens. I just want her back.
Yeah, I mean, I get it.
I just want him to shrug and go, Crisis.
Like, if you
If
ever
any
had the
show could do it.
opportunity to just put something back the way you want it to be and not have to excuse yourself, this is it.
Yeah. And if there was ever a show that could do it, Legends is the one.
Mm-hmm.
Where they could literally just look at the camera now with a film crew on board the Wave Rider and just go, crisis.
Yeah. It's still one of my favorite things they ever did on Legends is using like this meta shorthand kind of like that. The episode where she's stuck in a time loop.
Uh-huh.
And after a while, like after talking to Nate, she goes to like Nate and Ray afterward and just says like Groundhog Day, follow me.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of understand like, oh, we're stuck in a time loop. Gotcha. Shorthand. Done.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't want to be deprived of Zari, man. I already have to exist in a world where Ray and Nora are both going to be gone from Legends.
They are. I'd like to see her back. Like continuing capacity, sure.
And Nora's my boo. I got them hard feelings for her, man.
She grew on me.
She cute.
She is cute.
She my boo.
You know the funny part though is like I didn't really care about her until that finale where Ray hands her the stone. I was like, oh okay. Oh
no, ever since she showed up with Damien in Legends and she was full grown. Yeah.
She was growing on me there, but it was that scene where because that was like the beginning of her redemption arc. Like someone finally trusted her to make the right decision for the right reasons.
Let me be clearer.
And I saw it in her acting right then that I was like, oh yeah, no, she totally gets the scene, and it hit me. It hit me in a certain way. I liked it.
I'll be clearer. I agree with your assessment for her character and her acting abilities. But when she first showed up, I was like, damn.
Different conversation you were having.
To put a finer point on it, I looked at my wife and went, girl, doom, 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 you'll be a woman soon.
It's so fucking creepy in that context.
It is. Oh. I saw someone on Twitter bring up
like if I told you that was like Harvey Weinstein's favorite song.
Oh, don't do it. But someone on Twitter brought up that song and said, girl, you'll be a woman soon. Cool, so you can wait, right?
So we're not worried about the soon part, right? Okay.
Yeah. If you listen to the song, it just seems like it's a young man, who doesn't have the approval of the girl's parents. And he's just saying, soon you'll be a woman. And he goes, you'll need a man, which means that, she can leave her stupid parents behind because, he's not your kind. And traverse the earth with him.
That's nice.
I don't think it's like a literal old man running around going like, girl,
it's
sit on my dick.
To think about him running around in spandex.
Yeah.
With like a full fake crotch bulge is what I'm imagining.
Right.
Like a sculpted version that he puts inside to like shaped, with the little head shape and everything.
Uh-huh.
I'm imagining somebody running around with kind of like Naked Cowboy in Times Square style.
Right.
Super aggressive.
Yeah.
You'll be
I don't think he's like, alternate 1985 Biff Tannen hanging out at the playground or anything.
Yeah, but it in my mind it has echoes of the McConaughey, like, what I like about high school girls.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just creepy AF.
I know. It doesn't, that song doesn't, I like the song, and it doesn't creep me out nearly as much as Brown Eyed Girl, though.
Oh, I've never looked at the lyrics.
Look at the lyrics for Brown Eyed Girl.
Well, now I have to.
Oh, my dear God. That is some creepy shit.
I kind of believe you, because there's anomalies like that happen. Like, it was only a couple of years ago we all realized that Baby It's Cold Outside is really fucking rapey.
Yeah, except, that the, like, family members of the people who wrote it were like, it is not.
Oh, I don't even think their intent was that.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't know. I think that's maybe why no one noticed for a second, but when you listen to it now, it's hard not to see.
Yeah, part
of it is very aggressive song. Part
of it is that you have like woke Twitter at your back. Like,
no, I don't need woke Twitter for anything. This is I spent time. I spent a few hours last year looking at it and trying to justify it. I was like, I just can't. This makes no sense.
I spend too much time on Twitter, so now like I have like what I believe is woke Twitter. Like I just always see everything now. Like I see it through their eyes, and I'm like, oh shit, everything I like is horrible.
I don't think I do that. I'm sure I do from time to time.
You know, as I've stated, I'm not woke. I'm groggy. I'm trying.
I know.
I'm trying, but
I don't know. I always think I'm
confused.
a certain way, and I'm a human, so I'm sure I'm not always that way. But
right.
I always think that I'm like, okay, let me look at this, logically, objectively, blah blah blah, and maybe I can even make sense of my subjective interpretation and make that fold into blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
I try, but maybe it's called I was one of those where I was like, once someone pointed it out, I looked at it, I was like, oh no, I've got nothing. This is bad.
Yeah.
This is not good.
Well, if anyone wants to holler at me, I'm trying, man.
I have to look up Brown Eyed Girl now that you mentioned it, because
I don't think things are funny anymore.
Oh, there's plenty. There's plenty that's still funny. It's not a matter of like, oh my god, we can't joke anymore.
I'm terrified. I'm terrified that everything that I think is funny is somehow secretly not.
No, you just have to.
I'm just kidding.
Are changing.
I'm just
are more
kidding.
or less acceptable than they used to be.
If anything, I think the horrible things are even funnier now.
In certain capacities, they definitely are. Depends on what you're talking about, though.
Yeah, it does. It does depend on what you're talking
about. But it all depends on just having a sense of humor. It's my favorite thing. Is why it's called a sense of humor.
Yeah.
You don't have a law of humor.
I've got
an objective case of humor. It's a sense, in the sense that you have 5 to 6 to 7 of them if you include humor.
I have a really bad, terrible, dark sense of humor.
I do too. We've joked about things that should not be said again.
That's right.
I get it.
And I have an ache to say them.
But yeah,
like,
I'll be
like
okay
at least
if
5 things came to mind when you said that. And I was
5
like,
things?
At least. Like, I don't have a good memory.
I have a terrible memory for conversations like that. Like, once you tell me about what we were talking about, I'm either going to pick up on it immediately or be like, I don't know, was I even there? Or, I trust you. I assume I was there. My memory works 2 ways. Either you remind me of it and I immediately remember every fucking word verbatim. Or I don't even understand what was happening. And I hope, cross my fingers, that what you tell me I said, I agree with afterward.
Well, what works generally,
normally I do. So I'm pretty happy with it.
Well, for things like that, like I remember my funny lines, but I don't remember yours. So, because I'm a narcissist.
Because you're a human.
Remember I said that bit? You're like, oh yeah.
The reward and dopamine mechanisms in your brain like any other fucking human.
Yeah. Like, hey, remember that funny line I said? You're like, yeah. I'm like, I don't remember what you said other than ha 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 ha.
Yeah. Well, you had a good follow up. Cool.
Yep.
Sometimes I've tried to remember, and sometimes you've been like, yeah, I mean, you followed it up well. I was like, great. Glad that worked out.
I'm mostly kidding. I remember our conversations better than that, but it is. I like the idea, at least, that my remembrance of our conversations is me saying a funny thing, you laughing and going duh, and that's it. Which is way not it's mostly like, and I think the podcast will
like
back
in your
us up.
memory. You say something extremely clever that deserves to have like a sniffer of cognac and a lit pipe involved.
Oh, no.
And I just stare at you and go, pancakes.
Oh, now that will be in my head. No, it's nothing so sophisticated. I just modified a Neil Diamond song to say, girl, come sit on my dick. There's nothing sophisticated about my humor. Anyway.
It's a spectrum. We all get on every side of it.
So guess what dropped tonight as we're recording?
Oh, no idea. What?
The new CW Deathstroke animated series, Knights and Dragons.
Okay, hold on. When you say CW animated series...
CW Seed.
There you go.
It is Blue Ribbon.
Okay.
But I'll tell you this. I have no intention to watch it until the Blu-ray's out because undoubtedly they will release a longer version that has probably 15 to 20 minutes included. But this thing is like R-rated, man. Like the clip I saw a few months ago looked well done. It looked badass. Just putting that out there.
I'm on board with the idea. I think there's a lot of potential in the CWC Blue Ribbon content we've seen.
Uh-huh.
I will not be able to give a damn until we get past this whole idea of putting out 6 5-minute episodes.
Uh-huh.
Until that is the, if that is still the format, sorry, I'll wait. If at some point they decide to take things seriously and air real content that lasts a damn second,
Mm-hmm.
if a third of your content is credits, don't release a fucking trailer.
Uh-huh.
Go fuck yourself. I'm sorry.
Well, look,
that's not real.
Look, here's the thing. All right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm calming down. Listening.
If it winds up being a like a released movie
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
instead of a stupid web series, if this is just like their own way of doing like a little trailer for it, like a 6-part trailer for it or whatever it is. All right. I'm annoyed by it and I'm not going to watch it until it becomes a Blu-ray and I can watch the full thing with all the footage in there.
You can give me old school animation style, a 65-minute movie with a good story, decent animation, and using, God forbid, using some of the characters and voices, if you can do them, from the same universe that you purport to be from.
Mm-hmm.
If, as we've seen recently, you divorce yourself from the continuity, somewhat from the voices, and release things as though it's supposed to be a final product in the format that I just mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you release a thing later on Blu-ray and DVD format or whatever you want to do, I am just not going to have any fucks for you.
Fair enough.
I feel a little bit betrayed by the entire format.
I do too.
Don't appreciate what you're giving me as far as the content is. Like, it's not bad by itself. Like, Constantine's really a lot of what I'm talking about. The content itself was not bad.
Right.
How you housed it? Bad. Really bad.
Uh-huh.
I need to know you've changed the formula because, for God's sake, man, I'm just not on board yet.
Makes sense. So I'm on board for it eventually as a little movie or whatever. Michael Chiklis is playing Deathstroke here.
Of course.
So that's interesting.
It's already another turn from normal stuff.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But we're also
sidebar, like if CW Seed wants to pick up their own animated universe, great.
Mm-hmm.
But originally they build this as like a tiny little, like, hey, here's a little snippet of sidebar of stuff, and then you betrayed me.
Well, yeah. Now they've started like making it. Well, it's still a sidebar. Now they've made it like a sidebar of the DC Universe movies, which is kind of cool too. Like Constantine City of Demons took place in the universe of Justice League Dark.
Yeah, I can work with that.
And just like with this, or with that, J.M. DeMatteis wrote this one. So I'm down. I'll watch it at some point. I mean, we got Rose, we got Jericho, we got Wintergreen up in this bitch. Lady Shiva's in this thing. So I mean, a lot of cool people, a lot of cool characters. I don't know.
It's gonna be martial arts spectacular, But
I mean, like I said, the clip that I saw was just like Deathstroke coming in and like just straight up going to town, murdering some cunts. Yeah, just blood and just, oh my god.
I like it. As that, I like it.
But
it's that format was unworkable.
Yeah.
I really did. I tried to hang in there as long as I could and be hopeful, and I ran out. I'm sorry, I ran out of.
I understand.
I put my pom-poms on the ground and I walked away.
Oh, I still have like an internal visceral reaction, like when I see Blue Ribbon content. I went, ugh.
Mm-hmm.
Like I vomit a little bit. Like sometimes, like a bean will come up in my mouth, and I'm like, I haven't had a bean in 2 years.
This black-eyed pea finally
dislodged. Yeah, from
no, it's finally cooked.
Oh,
takes fucking forever.
I was gonna say it dislodged from my colon or something.
No, just hanging out there trying to do its work.
Mm-hmm.
It was on like low simmer for 2 years and finally got to cogitable cookingness, and then just and then you watch that and that happened. So
bean, you'll be digested soon.
God damn you. I really, it's my problems with that part of that brand have come and gone in different. It's been different reasons. Like when the first time I saw it, it was actually a pretty good little adjunct using a lot of similar characters. It was Vixen, I think. Using a lot of similar characters. It tied into the story. worst case, I thought the animation was like the pacing was a bit stilted for me, but it wasn't the end of the world. It added to the story. It was part of the universe, and I could deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
And then they transitioned from having some problems, I think, in the direction of how it actually came out, to getting better at that while abandoning what it was supposed to be connected to, and then just being like, oh no, we're connected over here now.
Yeah.
And in that sense, it gets better. I don't mind just, hey, we're connected over here now. I can, I can grab 2 thumbtacks and cut a piece of yarn in my mind and put that together, and I can make it work.
Right.
I've got a giant, far more convoluted billboard in my mind. This is not even, you're not even testing my capabilities with this.
The problem, look.
Execution-wise, it's always been a little bit short for me.
Yes, I agree. Animation-wise,
for different reasons.
It always fell short for me with Vixen. And then it was markedly bad with the Ray and the Freedom Fighters.
Which was disappointing because I really wanted to like that.
I did too. And I'll be honest, I never even saw the rest of it. Like, they put out like a 6-part thing, and then like it was supposed to like continue later, and then we didn't, like, there was like no marketing for it. And then all of a sudden, like, it's showing up on shelves at the store, like, oh, here's the full thing. And I think they just went, we're not airing any more of this. No one cares, because it was bad.
It still shows up on my TV time you haven't watched for a while, Q.
Yeah, I couldn't tell.
And it's like a mark of shame for me. Where like every time I scroll by it, and I'm already in my haven't watched for a while, it's already a shame pile. And then I go through that, and I'm like, I mean, I know it wouldn't take me long, but I just don't care. I'm sorry, and I keep scrolling.
When those few episodes that I saw, I couldn't tell which character was which. They looked bad. The pacing was terrible. Whatever.
I hated it because I really loved the Ray on the actual live CW spots. I had him.
And then when you had Constantine City of Demons, we have confirmation that Constantine is going to be on Arrow. Then all of a sudden we get this news that City of Demons is coming out and Matt Ryan's coming back. And you're like, well, this has all so far been tied to the CW. So you're thinking, oh, well, this is going to be a continuation of the Constantine series. Mm-hmm. And you look at the synopsis. Oh, Chaz is going to be back. Okay, cool. We're going to do the thing. And then we're not going to do the thing.
No, they did an entirely different thing. And then later they told me, oh, it was actually connected to something else.
Yeah, they don't tell me that it is that thing that is connected to Justice League Dark until after I've already seen it. I'm sitting there trying to figure out why Chaz is British now and why the show is not right. And, Astra's a little white girl now instead. And you're like, what is happening? Like, where are you connected? What are you?
I know.
They've done a very poor job of telling me what to expect and where this all falls. I don't think Diane Nelson was right.
It's been a right fucking mess.
Right. And when Diane Nelson used to talk about, what a brand confusion. I understand. I think she was wrong. But this is where she was right.
No,
You've got to be completely transparent when you're marketing a thing. Like, by the way, this is in the Justice League Dark universe.
Yeah.
Sing it from the mountaintop. Go tell it on the mountain. Tell your congregation of DC fans, hey, this shit ain't connected to the NBC series. It's not part of the Arrowverse. It's Matt Ryan coming back, but it's going to be part of Justice League Dark. That's all we needed. That's all I wanted.
I can deal with that. I didn't get it. I wasn't precursored. I was annoyed.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, there are ways to handle things. And again, execution has been my major problem with that little label.
Yeah, I'd like to execute everyone at Blue Ribbon.
No, there are things to salvage.
Yeah, I'm kidding. Just the marketing team.
Yeah. How it's been housed, how it's been sold to me, marketing may be part of it. And
want to go in there Alec Baldwin style. It seems like coffees for closes.
In retrospect, so maybe some of the marketing is trying to make sense out of something that didn't make sense anyway. I don't know.
I mean, ostensibly, what they're doing is they're creating direct-to-video movies and trying to chop them up and throw them up on the web.
It doesn't matter how much. If everything we were just talking about was off the table, the chopping it up still makes no fucking sense.
It's weird, man. It's weird.
6 5-minute episodes makes no goddamn sense no matter how you view it.
I mean, you get more ads that way.
The fuck you do. I say that because CWC prided itself for a long time on not having any ads.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
They were one of the last holdouts to not have ads. I haven't watched it in a minute, but I think they may still not have any ads.
You know, you go to watch, God forbid you fall asleep watching a CW show.
And by the way, I do respect them for that.
Yeah, sure. But, you know, if you go to sleep watching Black Lightning, for instance, and I bring Black Lightning up specifically.
You're going to wake up watching Jane the Virgin?
No, you're going to wake up watching the freaking Tomorrow People on CW Seed. CW Seed is like, CW and CW Seed are determined to shove the Tomorrow People cock down my throat. Like, they want me to see that stupid
this
show.
Season. I was referencing like 3 years before that where it's been Jane the Virgin.
I would love for it to be Jane the Virgin. I never want to see that dude from Lost again.
Of that. I got so tired of that fucking music and the same goddamn ad. Literally twice an ad break. I got bored of it. At least for me. At least with the Tomorrow People. And this is just me. At least for that. I watched every episode of the Tomorrow People because I was slightly interested. And as I've seen the trailers, I'm like, oh yeah, I do remember when that happened.
I'm not even talking about the trailers, man. I'm talking about like any show I watch. You think that it would advance to another episode of Black Lightning or Supergirl or whatever the hell I've fallen asleep to?
Oh no, yeah, you're right.
No.
At the end of it, they're going to show you Tomorrow People episode 1. Yeah,
I have seen that pilot for Tomorrow People like 25 times.
Because every time,
accidentally, like I just hear it and I'm like, oh God, or like my wife falls asleep to it and I'm like, I hear it in the other room and I'm like, is that Robbie Amell again? I did like a storm in there and sure enough, he's like sitting there watching the video of his dad being like, I'm special, Dad. From
Shield again. Is that Golden Glider again? Maybe it was just a bunch of people that later or at the time, I don't know. I actually enjoyed that show. For what it was worth at the time, I was pretty into it, and I was like, I get it. I get why I'm the minority here.
I do not want to see any more of CW's The X-Men. I don't.
It was a special spot. I had more time then. It was 7 or 8 years ago, I want to say. And I had more time to just watch frivolent shit at the time. It wasn't like I was trying to catch up with legitimately good shit, Marvel and DC and fucking whatever else universe you want to. If it has superpowers, I'm trying to watch it, I promise you. And it at the time there was a bit of starvation, and like I had time in my week to go watch something like Tomorrow People happily. I wouldn't even know where to fit it in now. No idea. I can't keep up with the stuff that's just DC, much less watch everything that's Marvel.
I would rather rewatch
still do.
good things that I enjoy than watch the Tomorrow People.
It really wasn't bad. It didn't have an ending, but it really was not a bad premise and not a bad show.
I've seen enough of it to just be like,
Well, yeah, if I watched the pilot 25 times as well.
I haven't seen it all the way through
woke up
once.
to the pilot 25 times as well, which is kind of funny because in the pilot, he wakes up in like separate places. Like
I know.
He teleports in his sleep.
I know.
Because he doesn't understand his powers. So it's kind of funny in a way.
Yeah. Not really.
No, not doing it. Okay.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. Sorry.
I have to like keep waking up seeing Golden Glider not act. Like just emote. Emote, damn it.
No, she was. I promise. If you get to the end of even the like 13 episodes that were available, that she's good. She's actually a lot better than you would think in the pilot.
All right. I mean, I liked her on Gotham. Liked her on The Flash.
I would say if you liked her on The Flash, you haven't. She does better on Tomorrow People than she does The Flash to me.
Peyton List, that's her name, isn't it?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. That sounds right at least. And
had to dust off a couple of neurons.
99%. I would 99 and some change % bet money on it.
Yeah. All right. Well, look, that's all I got.
She has range though.
I'm glad she's got range. It's really good for her.
Like I remember mentioning
it's
when she was cast as Golden Glider. I was like, no, I've seen her before on Tomorrow People. She's good. And then I saw her as Golden Glider. I was like, yeah, they didn't use her really. They didn't give her a lot.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, how do you use somebody when they're acting next to frickin' Snart? Wentworth Miller's gonna outact you. He's gotta chew that scenery faster than you can think.
Yeah, I agree.
Put two in the back of her head and call it a day.
He said it one time,
I know. This is like his tagline for me
It's
now.
been like 4 years, and you cannot get it out of your head. That's how much you
know.
loved that line and
I
his delivery.
loved it. I absolutely loved it. I
Doing
have
the
no
back of the
shame.
head, call it.
That is my favorite line from
Maybe out of
probably the
entirety
entire
of Legends,
Arrowverse.
possibly the entire CW verse. Yeah.
Yeah. I say we put 2 in the back of her head and call it a day.
It was a well delivered line. I'm not arguing with you.
I think I peed a little bit when he said that shit.
it was really good.
All right. Yeah. What do you think, man? You got any more?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Well, thank you for listening. All of you. Wonderful squirrel chasers.
Ooh, quick nomination.
Uh-huh.
ADD See on Screeners.
Thank you, all of you squirrel chasers out there.
It's exactly what I was hoping for reaction-wise.
Yeah, I know what you like.
Yeah.
I know what you like, Daddy.
Oh, that ruined it somehow.
I know. I knew it would too.
Yeah. It was all fun and games up till that.
Oh, it always is. It always is.
Yeah.
It's always fun and games until somebody calls you Daddy.
and then you have to either get mad or take severe responsibility for some actions you didn't understand happened years ago.
Uh-huh.
It's just it's gonna change your mood.
Mm-hmm.
God, I told you before I had this robe that I bought.
Okay.
I put it on because I turned the ventilation off in the house. I turned the AC on in the house off when I record.
Uh-huh.
And got down to like 63 degrees, so I threw my bathrobe on.
Uh-huh.
The bathrobe that I inadvertently bought that, well, I mean, I bought it very advertently. But it's like a dark blue robe that has a hoodie on it. And it goes all the way down to my ankles. And I mostly bought it because it would be warm to go outside in the morning to turn my car on to prepare myself to get into a defrosted car.
Uh-huh.
And I just reached out to grab like my pen to mark down the outro time here. And the cuff really swayed as I did it.
Oh.
And it made me laugh a little bit because, as my wife pointed out, I'm walking around in a cult robe in my house. I'm just a one-man cult. Makes me kind of, I regret nothing.
And then when you called me, we're a 2-man cult called DC on Screen.
Yeah. Yeah.
We promise we won't make you drink lemonade or Kool-Aid or any kind of aid.
Was the actual aid.
How was it?
Mm-hmm. Knockoff. Funny part is the Flavor Aid people didn't want to take ownership, and the Kool-Aid people were like, just let it die. If we try to blame them, it'll be worse.
Yeah. You know, there's something funny about the notion that this guy decided to save a few dollars. Because you would think, like, if what you were planning was going to, I mean, right?
You're thinking go out on a bang.
Why not go for the Kool-Aid? Why not spend the extra 30 cents? What are we being thrifty for?
If you've spent the last couple of years being a pocket communist society, which in all fairness seemed to have actually worked for the constituents, like if you weren't wanting for more, you didn't actually want for what you didn't have, so that's something. But he was still getting all the upkicks. Like you could be somebody who donated your entire life savings as a banker and join that cult, and then still be told, "Oh, I need you to go get an outside job." And you'd go work 12 hours a day at an outside job and give him, I think it was like 80% of your paycheck or some shit, and then still have chores back at the farm to do.
Right.
I'm just not sure old Jimmy had more money than Flavor Aid would have afforded him.
I'm just saying, man. Get you a credit card. Go out on a limb. Get you some Sunny D. Like,
Also, they were overseas, and I can't remember where. It was south of our border, at least. On one of the countries, one of the island countries. I can't remember where. So I wonder what he had access to. We're still talking about a guy whose background escape plan was a helicopter.
We are DC on Screen. You can find every episode at dconscreen.com. Thank you for supporting the show.
Lovely way to leave it. Yeah.
I love you all, you zany little squirrel chasers.
Just not going to sell you on the ADD See on Screeners, huh?
Until next time,
Okay.
squirrel chasers.
I'll just retire that. Hold on. Can we hear the clicking of the pen? Hold on.
No, you're not cutting that out. That's too good.
It's me marking through my idea.
Uh-huh.
These are the tears.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's good to cry. It's a good cleansing process.
I can live with it. Carry on.
Until next time, keep some DC on your screen. Our intro music is by Jason Goss and Michael Shackelford. Michael's band, Galactic Engineers of Magnetic Sounds, or GEMS, can be found on SoundCloud and Bandcamp. Visit DCOnScreen.com to find our Patreon, merch, contact information, and every episode of the show for free, including crossovers we've done with other podcasts. DC On Screen is a maladjusted production. For more from me and Jason, including sketch comedy, vlogs, parodies, and our improvised web series Hey Guy, visit maladjusted.tv.